Joining me now is Bill Nye. He's the science educator and CEO of the Planetary Society, but you probably know him simply as the Science Guy. Bill is the author of Bill Nye's Great Big World of Science, and this Tuesday he will testify at a House Homeland Security Committee hearing on climate change and its threat to U.S. homeland security. But let's start with the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Bill, good to see you as always. Thank you for being with us. Tell our viewers why this is an important move by the Biden administration.
Well, the more oil and gas we continue to extract, the more we're going to be making producing greenhouse gas emissions. So just fundamentally, the less drilling we do, the better. The sooner we wean ourselves from these energy sources, the better. Now, the other big problem we have globally is this loss of biodiversity. So this is bad in two ways if you were to continue to drill, because the other thing is this is a unique ecosystem with species that don't exist anyplace else. And so whenever you disturb them, disturb their migration patterns, their population's going to go down. And so you don't want that. So it's bad in two ways, and stopping it is good in two ways. But man, I'm the first to admit we have gotten this far by burning oil and gas and coal, fossil fuels. But we have to cut it out. We have to stop. And so the sooner the better.
Yeah, that's gone from being a sort of a out there idea that we can actually stop as opposed to reduce into being something fairly mainstream. And I think the pandemic really brought that to light. The idea that when we stopped for a little while back last March and last April, the air cleaned up. Lots of things changed. I mean, we do have that impact. So for people who say that humans don't have an impact on the warming of the globe and the polluting of the air, we proved in 2020 we have a big impact on it.
Oh, man. Oh, heavens, yes. But keep in mind, the word pollution is tricky these days because carbon dioxide is not a pollutant in the same way hydrogen sulfide is or something else. But too much of it is making the world get warmer, especially fast. It's the speed the world is getting warmer that's the key. And we got to cut it out. I'm sorry. I know. We've gotten this far burning fossil fuels, but we can't do it anymore.
Bill, what are you talking to the U.S. Congress about? You're testifying before the Homeland Security Committee about a threat from climate change to Homeland Security?
Yes, which is, I am very much looking forward to this, and I've worked very hard on my testimony, getting it crisp and all this stuff. But just that we're having the hearing, that's the news. Just that people are taking climate change seriously enough to address it as a security issue. So everybody. What happened in Texas a few weeks ago where the whole grid shut down and people were killed by the cold, that was really bad. That was bad. But if that were to happen at the same time there was a Russian hack on, let's say, the Colonial Pipeline, that could be really bad. If there were this cold snap, a Russian hack, and then a big storm, that would be really, really bad. And so the Department of Homeland Security is taking these sorts of threats seriously. And the analogy I give everybody is a commercial airliner. The only thing that goes wrong with a commercial airliner is when several things go wrong at the same time, and almost always one of those things was bad maintenance. That is to say, they took off with a problem to start with, and then things got worse. But that's why commercial airliners are so crazy safe, a million times safer than driving. So anyway, these are analogs, but that the hearing is being held, to me, is enormous news. And of course, I'm honored to be asked to testify.
Yeah, and by the way, the U.S. military is one of the few organizations that actually believes in climate science and takes it seriously because they understand the consequences to their deployments, to naval bases and things like that. Speaking about the military, I'm not chiming in here about the existence of UFOs or not the existence of UFOs, but the U.S. military and analysts have said that this thing that a couple of Navy pilots saw that everybody's now seen, they're not saying that it is or it isn't a UFO. They're saying they can't necessarily explain it. It's not one of theirs. The pessimist in me, the skeptic in me, says the military doesn't tell us everything they know anyway.
So, look, everybody, I'm a mechanical engineer. I had security clearance for a little while on a fighter plane that was called the A-12 Avenger, the Flying Taco. It never got built. Or did it? Anyway, I'll just tell you guys, just fundamentally, the Air Force Research Lab, AFRL, does not tell the Naval Research Lab what they're doing. The NRL doesn't tell the AFRL, and the NSA doesn't tell anybody anything. You know, if you guys want to look historically at the Clementine space mission, lunar mission flew to the moon, that was a repurposed spy satellite. Somebody at the NSA went, hey, this will be fun. Let's NRO, National Reconnaissance Office. Let's just send that to the moon. Yeah, cool. Let's do it. In other words, they don't tell, especially with respect, they don't tell young Navy pilots what they're up to. They just don't. And I worked with people who went to Groom Lake, the famous Area 51. And here's a fun thing. This is something I've said many times, Allie. This is fun. Why do they not paint spy planes light blue so they'd match the sky? Why don't they do that? They do that.
So you think this is a UFO? What do you think this is?
So,
are you implying that you believe this might be U.S. military equipment?
Yeah, or U.S. Intelligence services. And so, absolutely. You guys, no one thought of aliens. No one worried about aliens until sort of World War I, when people were dropping bombs from airplanes. A very traumatic thing, but that's when threats from the sky became real. Before that, in the Civil War, no one, 1880s, no one was concerned about aliens because they didn't have that worldview.
Yeah.
Science fiction hadn't been created yet with things flying around. Now that, just this conclusion, this idea that if you can't explain it, it must be an alien civilization is extraordinary, you guys.
Yeah.
We are not using critical thinking skill. Come on.